You are watching Us Channel.
Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. I'm Emily Monroe. I am Chief Secretary of USH Corporation, here to be moderator for today's panel. I am honored to host and bring you the panel where there are different perspectives of a significant topic. This topic will be about Western expansion. This event is very significant, where it would affect the nation's economically and politically. Here we are with Lady Columbia, Roger Logan, Justin Farmer, and Alexandra Smith. They will analyze the change in views that Americans have held concerning the West and the wider environment in general. So, Lady Columbia, from your point of view, what was the change in the views Americans had concerning the West?
Good afternoon. I definitely know that one of the old views America would have in regards to the West would be about how our Almighty God, the one who created this outstanding nation, has a destiny for us. The expansion westward is destined to happen, which is why we have the right to expand west.
Good afternoon, viewers. Due to the recent earthquake, our program had to transfer virtually. Fortunately, everyone is safe and healthy.
Isn't Mother Nature so beautiful?
Huh?
What?
Anyways, Lady Columbia, you have mentioned that God gave us the right to expand. What a great analysis. Can you elaborate the God-given right?
Why, of course. The God-given right is known to be as manifest destiny. This would be a democratic belief about God giving us the right to expand.
Great. Thank you for the insight. Now, Jasper the Farmer, what is your analysis on the views of the West?
I think westward expansion is great. I haven't had time back then to farm, but thanks to the West, I can farm lots of crops and make lots of money to support the family.
Oh, definitely.
It's very true. Now that I have more space for farming, I can make great crops and great farmlands and bring home the bread.
I can second on that. God gave us the West to get the resources we need and the logs to build. Build. It helps bring stable income when I get to sell them. And I can harvest logs for people to make cool furniture.
I have friends in Maine that their great grandparents also farmed in the land. They say that down the years, their ancestors have told the same story about how their great grandparents settled in the West and how they faced many problems. It was a rough time for them at the time, and they were ignored by the public domain, who were like mindless sheep towards advertisements who were scamming them. Luckily, my great grandparents were not knuckleheads, so they knew better than to listen to MC with them scam talk. However, my great grandparents had some help from railways. Now their crops were sent to far towns and cities, and it turned out that not all city folk were bad. But now my great grandparents had mixed feelings about the city folk. Now, our great grandparents were making big stacks of cash.
Nice to hear your great grandparents managed to settle in the West and still kept working on an honest job despite the problems they faced.
That was not all. But I wanted to give my dear friend Roger a chance to speak.
Great, then in that case, Roger, could you?
Yup. You see, all those years ago, my grandparents and many other Americans were moving to the West to take advantage of the business opportunities afforded by this large-scale migration. But especially for us loggers, we practically jumped at the opportunity to move to the West, since the forests were viewed as a barrier to development or a source of rapid wealth. But the forests in the East were depleted, so many logging companies knew that moving to the West was the best option. So when loggers like my grandparents moved, they began to cut down forest farms like I did for Jasper, and to produce lumber for building ships and mines. Plus,
This God expand stuff is great and all, but aren't we also completely ignoring the problem right now?
What could you mean, Alexandra?
Wouldn't that be nice to hear?
Ah, yes! If you check page 230 of my book, Keeping Green, which is out in stores now, humanity has shown a severe indifference for the environment. It's really sad. It has gotten to the point where it has gotten worse as time has went on. Demand for materials, wants, and needs progressed, and there is often a higher demand for Earth's scarce materials.
Are you implying that we're the problem?
Maybe.
Ain't you real funny?
Unfortunately, such indifference damages our food as well.
My crops dirty? I will have you know that my crops are the finest quality there is. Right, Maurice? Ain't that right? Tell him it's true. Tell him it's true. I clean my crops after harvesting them, and I also make sure that I pluck out any dirty weeds to prevent them plagues. My agriculture is the reason you guys get fresh nutrients. How else do you think the British would have survived during the blackouts during World War II? By planting crops!
Anyways, back to what we were talking about. Alexandra, regarding your claim that Americans do not care for the environment, well, recent data states that there's actual change from such indifference.
Well, sure, there's a definite improvement in the 20th century regarding the environment. Thankfully, it's good that more people are starting to be aware.
I'm doing my part to make sure I'm keeping the environment clean. I'm not using harsh pesticides or feeding bad things to my cows and pigs. I don't see what's wrong with the environment. You guys are asking for too much these days.
What made your ancestors even settle in the West?
That would be the Homestead Act of 1862. This allowed a settler to acquire as much as 160 acres of land for $10. It encouraged us settlers to fill the empty acres of land and provide a stimulus for the family farm, considered to be the backbone of democracy.
But regarding most of your opinions on the West, you seem to see the expansion towards the West as a place for opportunities, especially economic opportunities.
You might be mentioning the precious land of economic opportunity that became the West, but don't you think about how the West achieved such a title? Don't you think about why people nowadays think that the West was a terrible idea? Don't you think about the many Native Americans who were killed?
Who says we're the same as our ancestors? Of course we know what happened, but that was in the past.
This is the problem with you people. You decide to ignore your past mistakes your ancestors made. Sure, they helped pioneer the West, but don't you think about how they made it to the West?
You know, I think that despite the crazy things these environmentalists say, you can make some sense of what they say. The past is not something that we personally involved in, but we are the living embodiment of what happened after our ancestors migrated to the West. We still have the
Genocide.
Exactly. Now you see why the West is not as glorious as it once said to be. Many Native Americans were killed, and many died trying to migrate to Oklahoma, seeking for refuge. I think it's time to realize this. So although our ancestors did terrible things to give the West a good image, it doesn't mean that we have to agree with them. I think that you guys should also realize that we have the future in our hands, like how our ancestors did all those years ago. Now, I think it is time to make a change for the better.
for the better.
For the better.
For the better! Yeah!
I'm glad that you guys seem to have reached an agreement. Does anyone have any final thoughts?
Well, I guess our ancestors are not really the best when it comes to storytelling.
I think I might start a fundraiser to grow lots of trees. $1 donation will equal to one tree being planted.
I feel that we all just wanted to follow in our ancestors' footsteps, but we don't have to. We can break free and make the most of it! Yeah!
I see. Well, I guess this concludes our panel discussion for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Bye for now.
Bye.
Wait, guys. Guys, Maurice says he wants to say something. Go ahead, Maurice. Don't be shy.
Hello, I am Maurice. I believe one of you claims to be my uncle, Joseph.